Okay, so you guys, all right, if there is no index, hey, welcome back. Welcome back to math class. If there's no index showing, it means it's invisible. There's actually a number there. What number do you guys think is there if there is no index showing? It can't be a 1. I just told you guys the index has to be a positive whole number 2 or greater. It's a 2. Okay? So, you guys, this is something that you definitely need to remember. If no index is showing, it is a 2. Okay? Why is it a 2? Because the book of math, chapter 5, verse 4 said so. All right? It's just the way it is. So, you guys do need to remember that. All right? Now, here is the only thing that we are, so there's basic terminology that we have, and here's what we want to focus on today. So today, I want to make sure that everybody is able to be given a problem like this, 8 to the 2/3 power. Okay? And this problem, 8 to the 2/3 power, is what we call, it is a type of expression in exponential form. All right, and the reason why it's called in exponential form is because we have an exponent. But in this case, the exponent is a fraction. Now, what I want to go over today is, how do you take a problem in exponential form, and then how do you change it so that it is in radical form? Okay, so what we're learning how to do today is just taking an exponential form type of an equation and how to change it into radical form, and it's a very simple process. And today we're just going to learn the process on how to do it. Okay, so just watch. 8 to the 2/3 power, which is in exponential form because we have an exponent, in radical form would become, you would put the radical, and then for the index, you would put whatever the denominator is of the fraction of the exponent. So the index would become 3, and then everything else would become the radicand. So the radicand would become 8 to the 2nd power. Okay? So 8 to the 2/3 power, written in radical form, becomes a radical symbol with the index of 3. Notice where the 3 came from. It came from the denominator of the fraction, and the fraction was an exponent, and then the radicand was the base of the exponent 8 plus the numerator of the fraction 2/3. Okay? This is all that I want you guys to learn how to do today, is write something from exponential form into radical form. We're going to do a couple just practices of this, and after a while you guys will get it. So let's say I have x to the 4/7 power. Okay, now you guys, that's in exponential form, and the reason why x to the 4/7 is in exponential form is because the 4/7 is an exponent. So if I said change this into radical form, you would draw the radical symbol. What would the index be? 7, good. And then what would the radicand be? X to the 4th power. Okay? So, you guys, what we are saying, whether you understand it or not yet, is not, and that's not the point, but what we're saying is that x to the 4/7 power and the radical with an index of 7 of x to the 4th, those two values, believe it or not, are the exact same thing. Okay? And one of these days, not today, I'll get out a calculator and I'll show you why. Okay? Let's do another one. 12 to the 1/2 power. Okay? So to put this in radical form, I draw the radical symbol. What would the index be? 2. Now, think about what we talked about. If the index is 2, do you really have to write 2 for the index? No. If the index is 2, you leave the index blank. Okay, but what would the radicand become? 12 to the what power? 1. Do I have to write a 1 power? No. So, if you wrote 12 to the 1 power like that, radical symbol with an index of 2, radicand of 12 to the 1 power, that would be overkill. Really, you would just write it like this. Okay, you don't have to put the 1 for the exponent. You don't have to put the 2 for the index. Okay, so you guys, so far so good, right? Hey, this is where you're supposed to say, right. So far so good, right? Right. All right, now let's go the other way. So you guys, it makes sense that if I can take something in exponential form and put it in radical form, it should make sense that if I put something, if I give you something in radical form, you should be able to tell me what it would be in exponential form. So in other words, what happens if I tell you the radical form is the index of 5, radical of 3 to the 7th? What would that be in exponential form? 3 to the what power? 7/5 power. Good. Okay. All right, you guys. So listen, you have to be able to go both ways in this problem. Okay. Let's do 2 more. See how we do here. All right. So let's say I have w to the 9. And then you guys, I have no index at all. Okay. So, once again, if there is no index showing, what's the index actually? 2. A 2. So what would this radical be as an exponent? W to the power of what? 9/2. Okay. So those two would be equivalent to one another. And the last one is tricky. Let's say I have an index of 4. And then the radicand is a 3 with an x to the 5th power. Okay? Now on this particular one, here's where you have to be careful. This 5th power is only for the x. Okay? So that 5th power is not for the 3. This 3 actually has an exponent of 1. So when you convert this problem into exponential form, you guys, if I just had that part, here's how you have to think about this. What would that become? Just if you just saw the 3 there. What would it be as an exponent form? It'd be 3 to the power of 1/4. So you have to write that. But now, if you only saw the x part in the problem, and pretend the 3 isn't there, what would that become if just the x part was there? X to the 5/4. So this particular problem, when you change it into exponential form, would be 3 to the 1/4 power and then x to the 5/4 power. Okay, so you have to be careful on that.